The slap from Amelia made Clare a little more sober. She held her face, looking at the furious woman in front of her, and asked, "Who are you? What are you going to do?" Amelia gritted her teeth. "What am I going to do? I'm going to kill you!" Then she yelled to the bodyguard next to her, "Where's the knife? Give it to me. I'm going to carve up her face." "Yes, miss." The bodyguard immediately pulled out a sharp knife and said respectfully, "Miss, for someone like this, you shouldn't have to dirty your hands. Let me do it." Amelia raised her hand and slapped him, snatching the knife from his hand. "You moron!" she cursed. "You dare to talk to me like that right now?" The bodyguard immediately dropped to his knees in terror. "Miss, I was wrong. Please, forgive me." Amelia kicked him away and said angrily, "Get out of here!" Then, holding the knife, she advanced on Clare, ready to slash her face. Clare trembled with fear, trying to break free, but the bodyguards held her tight. She couldn't move at all, and she felt too weak to even find her strength. At that critical moment, a voice suddenly shouted, "Give me the knife!" Amelia turned her head and saw a young man rush in with 10 men dressed in black. "Who do you think you are, daring to interfere in my business? Do you have any idea who I am?" Charlie gritted his teeth and said, "I don't care who you are." After speaking, he rushed forward and kicked the woman, sending her stumbling back. Seeing Charlie, Clare broke down and yelling, "Charlie, save me!" Charlie gathered all the spiritual energy in his body into his fists and suddenly punched the 2 bodyguards who were holding his wife. The 2 of them were sent flying, hitting the wall hard before crumpling to the floor unconscious. Clare was free, but her legs gave out and she crumpled to the ground. Charlie rushed over and caught her, holding her in his arms. He saw the red handprint on her face and his heart ached with fury. "Clare, it's okay," he said softly. "I'll get revenge for you." Clare sobbed, clinging to him. "Please, just take me home," she cried. Charlie gently patted her back and said calmly, "Don't worry. I'll take you home. No one is ever going to hurt you again." As he spoke, a calming wave of energy seemed to flow from his hand, and Clare fell into a deep sleep. Charlie gently laid Clare on a nearby sofa and said to Isaac, "Protect my wife." Isaac nodded grimly. "Mr. Wade, don't worry. She's safe with us. I'll stake my life on it." Charlie turned to the woman he had kicked, Amelia. He grabbed her by the collar and hauled her up from the ground, then punched her squarely in the face. "You hit my wife?" Amelia, her face now bloody, shrieking hoarsely, "You dare to hit me? Do you know who I am? I'll have you killed!" Then she screamed at her remaining bodyguards, "Kill him for me! I'll give $1 million to whoever kills him!" The bodyguards' eyes lit up at the offer, and they immediately charged forward. Charlie said blankly to Isaac's men, "Kill them all." Several of the men in black instantly pulled pitch-black pistols from their jackets and opened fire on the bodyguards. The bodyguards never imagined that this group of men in black would be armed, and their aim was perfect. Every single shot hit a bodyguard in the head. In an instant, all of Amelia's bodyguards were dead, each one taken down with a single, precise shot. Amelia stared in horror at the sudden carnage. "Who are you?" she stammered. Charlie sneered, "I'm Clare's husband." Silas, who was standing frozen nearby, started to tremble. "You're the house husband from the Wilson family." Charlie smiled and asked him, "What? Are you surprised that a house husband can have this kind of power?" Silas nodded frantically. Amelia, recovering slightly, blurted out, "Let me tell you something. My name is Amelia. I'm the daughter of the Foster family from San Francisco. You've heard of the Foster family, right? Our masters are the Wade family of Eastcliff. If you mess with me, I don't care how powerful you think you are, the Feng family will destroy you, and the Wade family will destroy you." "Oh." Charlie smiled coldly and said to the shaken woman, "Listen closely. I am a son of the Wade family of Eastcliff. I am your master. My name is Wade." When those words hit, it was as if Amelia had been struck by lightning. She stared at Charlie, her eyes wide, as if she were seeing a ghost. "You're Mr. Wade? From the Wade family? How is that possible? How could a Mr. Wade be in a small place like Orris Hill?" Just then, Isaac stepped forward and yelled, "Amelia, how dare you act tough when you're about to die? This is our young master, Charlie." Amelia's eyes locked onto Isaac. Isaac Craven, the spokesperson for the Wade family in Orris Hill, the very man her father had been desperately trying to get close to. Why was he here? Could it be? Was this young man really the young master of the Wade family? Amelia suddenly collapsed, kneeling on the ground and bowing and scraping desperately. "I was wrong, Mr. Wade. Please, forgive me. I truly know I was wrong. If I had known she was your wife, I would have never dared to lay a finger on her, Mr. Wade." Silas was paralyzed with fear. He dropped to his knees with a thud and pleaded with tears in his eyes, "Mr. Wade, please, forgive me." Charlie's expression was icy. "You plotted against my wife," he said, his voice low and dangerous. "And you still expect me to spare you?" After that, Charlie shouted to the men in black, "Shoot that piece of trash between his legs!" One of the men in black raised his gun and fired without hesitation. In an instant, blood bloomed across Silas's pants. He was ruined. Charlie spoke again, his voice like ice. "Handle him. He should only be able to move his head for the rest of his life." Two men in black stepped forward, and one struck Silas hard at the base of his spine. Silas felt a sharp, blinding pain, but it only lasted for a second. The next moment, he couldn't feel anything below his neck. Silas was filled with absolute despair. He wanted to kill Charlie. A man in black looked at Charlie and asked, "Mr. Wade, what should we do with this woman?" Charlie said with a cold face, "The same." Amelia went insane, grabbing at her hair and screaming, begging for mercy. But Charlie wasn't going to give her a chance. If you dared to cross him, there was only one way it would end. No! Killing them with a single shot would be letting them off easy. Amelia's spine also broke. Just like that, both husband and wife would never have a chance of recovery. Isaac stepped forward then and said respectfully, "Mr. Wade, the 300 heavy excavators I've gathered have arrived. Just say the word, and we'll flatten the entire Bennett Materials Group immediately." "Okay," Charlie nodded and said coldly, "Tell all the workers to get out within 10 minutes. Whew. 10 minutes from now, this whole place will be leveled." Silas and Amelia were terrified. A lifetime of hard work gone just like that. Everything was gone, and from now on, they could only be the living dead. Without money, who would take care of them? Charlie didn't care about them. He had someone pull the fire alarm and the entire factory immediately started to evacuate. Then, Charlie picked up Clare, who was already asleep. He had several of his men in black carry out Silas and Amelia, who were unable to move. By the time they all stepped out of the office building, the factory was almost completely empty. The workers thought there was a fire and all ran out as if their lives depended on it. At that moment, 300 excavators surrounded the factory. The thousands of people Isaac had called were on the perimeter, helping to evacuate the remaining workers. Standing in the open lot, Charlie said to Silas and Amelia, "I want you to watch with your own eyes as your life's work turns to dust." After that, he turned to Isaac and ordered, "Send the excavators in. Tear it all down." 300 excavators roared to life and rolled forward. Their massive buckets and hydraulic arms moved like 300 heavy tanks, tearing apart the workshops of the factory, crushing them, and flattening everything into a pile of rubble. Silas and Amelia were in complete despair. This was all their hard work. These factories, built brick by brick and beam by beam, were the result of half a lifetime of effort. You could say the factory was like their own child. Now, watching someone tear it down piece by piece was pure torture. At that moment, they had no will to live. Later, Charlie turned to them and said, "I'll spare your miserable lives, but you'll remember me. If anyone dares to reveal my identity to the outside world, I will kill your entire family. I won't leave a single person standing." The two of them collapsed in terror, crying out, "Mr. Wade, we wouldn't dare, sir. Kill us, but we would never reveal your identity, we swear." Charlie nodded, looking at the broken husband and wife and the ruins that had been the Bennett Materials Group. The anger in his heart finally subsided. Afterward, he said to Isaac, "Get the helicopter. Let's go back." Isaac nodded immediately and then respectfully asked, "Mr. Wade, I think the young lady may have been drugged. Should I send her to the hospital, or should I arrange for a doctor to come to the house?" Charlie waved his hand. "No, just take us home." When they returned home, Clare still hadn't woken up. This was mainly because Charlie had not yet withdrawn the spiritual energy from her body.